You've got a credit card you never use. Maybe it has a high annual fee, and you're tempted to just get rid of it. It feels like a smart financial move, doesn't it? A clean break from a card that's just taking up space in your wallet. But what if I told you that simple decision could have unintended consequences for your financial future? That closing an account can impact your credit for up to a decade, and not always how you'd expect. Today, we're going to uncover exactly how closing a credit account can either help or hurt your credit score. To do this, we'll follow a hypothetical person named Jane, who just closed a 5-year-old credit card that had a $10,000 limit. We'll see how this single choice could either damage her score or, surprisingly, leave it almost untouched. Before we get into Jane's story, you need to understand the 2 most important factors that are affected when you close a credit card account. First is your credit utilization ratio. This is the second most important factor in your credit score, and it's simply the total amount you owe across all your cards divided by your total available credit. Lenders want to see this ratio stay low, ideally below 30%. When you close a card, you instantly lose its credit limit, which can cause your utilization ratio to spike and make you appear riskier to lenders almost overnight. Second is the average age of your accounts. This is where a lot of confusion comes in. Many people believe that when you close your oldest card, you immediately lose all that valuable credit history. That's a myth. An account that was closed in good standing will stay on your credit report for up to 10 years, and it continues to age and positively contribute to your credit history for that entire time. The potential impact on your score comes a decade later, when it finally falls off your report. Now, I know this might have you wondering where your own credit stands right now. The good news is you don't have to guess. You can check your credit score in just a few minutes with a trusted credit monitoring service. You'll see your full credit report, your 𝐔𝐒𝐄 score, and even get real-time alerts when something major changes. Best part? It's basically free. I've left the link in the description if you want to check yours today. Now, let's get back to Jane and look at a scenario where closing her card was a bad idea. Imagine Jane has 2 other credit cards, and on those cards, she carries a combined balance of $9,000. Her total credit limit across all 3 cards was $20,000. This put her credit utilization ratio at 45%, which is already considered high. But then, she closed that 5-year-old card with the $10,000 limit, which had a 0 balance. Her debt is still $9,000. But her total available credit just plummeted to $10,000. Instantly, her credit utilization ratio skyrockets from 45% to a shocking 90%. A move like that could easily cause her credit score to drop significantly. This kind of drop can be shocking if you're not monitoring your credit. That's why I always recommend keeping tabs on your score. The immediate damage is from that high utilization, but she's also set a 10-year timer. Since that was one of her older cards, in 10 years when it disappears from her report, the average age of her credit history will suddenly drop, which could cause another dip in her score. But what if Jane approached this differently? Let's rewind. This time, before closing the card, Jane worked hard to pay down her $9,000 balance. Now, her utilization is at or near 0%. When she closes the card with the $10,000 limit, her total available credit still drops. But since she isn't carrying a balance, her utilization ratio stays at 0%. In this case, she'd see very little, if any, change to her credit score. The closed account will continue to be a positive part of her credit history for the next 10 years. And now for the surprising part. What if the card Jane closed was actually her newest account, one she'd only had for 6 months? While a closed account continues to age on your report, some scoring models may weigh open accounts more heavily. By closing her newest line of credit, the average age of her remaining open accounts actually goes up. In this very specific situation, closing a newer card could, in theory, lead to a slight improvement in the average age of her active accounts. So, how do you decide if you should actually close a card? It's not a decision to be made lightly, but sometimes it is the right call. Here's a quick checklist of good reasons. 1. The annual fee is too high, and the card's benefits no longer justify the cost. 2. You're trying to manage your spending. If a particular card is a constant temptation that leads to debt, closing it can be a healthy financial boundary. 3. You're upgrading from a starter card. If you've moved on from a basic or secured card to one with much better rewards, you may not need the old one anymore. But before you make the final decision, always call your card issuer first. Ask if you can do a product change to a different card in their lineup that has no annual fee. This often allows you to keep the same account number, credit limit, and history, which lets you avoid any negative impact on your score. Closing a credit card isn't just about whether it hurts your score, but how and when you do it. The real lesson here is that the numbers on your credit report are a direct result of your actions. By understanding the rules, especially around credit utilization, you can make smart decisions that protect your financial standing. And if you're ready to take control of your own credit journey, don't just think about it in theory. Check your actual score today. I've linked a trusted credit monitoring service below that gives you your full report, FICO score, and alerts in minutes. It's almost free, and honestly, one of the easiest steps you can take right now.